Good evening. This is a special meeting of the Township Committee being held April 30th, 2015. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given by transmission to the the Star Ledger, the Independent, and the Two River Times, and by posting in the Middletown Township Municipal Building and filing with the Township Clerk all on April 10th, 2015. Committeeman Fiore.
Here.
Committeeman Sharp.
Here.
Committeeman Severino.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Michelle.
Here.
And Mayor Murray.
Here.
Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We could take a moment of silence to honor the troops serving worldwide, defending our freedoms, constitutions, and way of life. Thank you. No action items. Item number 1 is Resolution 15129, which would be the 2015 public hearing and vote on the municipal budget resolution.
Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak to 15129? Seeing no members of the public wishing to speak to 15129, I move to close the public portion and adopt.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Committeeman Severino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Michelle.
Yes.
Mayor Murray.
Yes.
At this time, may we have a motion to vote on the 2015 municipal budget resolution, number 15-129. Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Committeeman Severino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Michelle.
Yes.
And Mayor Murray.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is Resolution 15-130. So 2015 public hearing and vote on the solid waste budget resolution.
So moved. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there anyone wishing to speak to 15130, 2015? Seeing no members of the public wishing to speak to 2015 15130, I move to close the public portion and adopt.
Second. Sorry.
We're all crazy today.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Committeeman Severino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Michelle.
Yes.
And Mayor Murray.
Yes.
May I have a motion to adopt the 2015 solid waste budget resolution number 15-130?
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Committeeman Severino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Michelle.
Yes.
And Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Resolution 15-154, resolution authorizing ratification of the PDA contract, will be held or pulled from tonight's agenda and will be considered at Monday's workshop meeting, which is May 4th.
Okay, tonight I'll start with Committeeman Fiore.
Thank you, Mayor. A few brief comments for, I think, anyone to hear it on the record. But first, it's a little silly that we're here this evening instead of voting on this on Monday, but that so goes the state of New Jersey and the Division of Local Finance, forcing us to ratify this budget prior to May 1st. So I didn't see why May 4th would have been such an issue, but glad to be here and glad to vote on the budget, which I believe is a very austere budget, which takes the continual balance that and challenge that we face here as a governing body and administration in not only providing, the best for the taxpayers in the most efficient and economical way, but also comes well within and under our 2% property furthermore, I think that changes that we continue to implement, continue to make in negotiations, and will continue to make in policy and implementation will continue to have positive impacts for future budget years and future township committee votes. And I'm very optimistic that those changes brought by our CFO and our administrator that we've been employing over the last few years will in fact continue and have a positive impact as it did this year. Still a little saddened by the state of New Jersey and their lack of, I don't want to call it state aid, that's a negligible term, it really isn't very fair and accurate, but I just do not think that the state gives any positive reinforcement for communities that do well. Instead, I think as a legislature and a state government, I think we actually continue to just foster those municipalities who don't do as well from a budget perspective. And I think that unfortunately has an impact on how much capital and things that we can do here, which I'd like to see more of in future budgets. And we'll continue to see how things work in Trenton and how they wiggle their way down here in Middletown. And I'm sure we'll be able to do the right thing as we've done in the past many years. So with that, great budget put together by the administrator and the CFO, and proud and pleased to support this year's 2015 budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Committeeman Zambria.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be a tad shorter than Committeeman Fury. So I just want to thank the Mayor and Administration and CFO for crafting an excellent budget. Once again, the Township continues the trend of reducing dollars and increases that we need from the general public. That has continued this year with a less than 1% increase that I am very proud to support as we continue the services here in Middletown that are second to none in the state. So thank you very much. And that concludes my comments for this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Schreckenberger.
Thank you. Just really quick, I want to give a hat tip to the CFO and the administrator and everybody who worked so hard on this budget. Absorbing the winter that we had and the expenses that come along with it was really, quite a challenge. And I know everything's going up, healthcare, just about every cost you look at has been increasing. And to be able to deal with that and come with a budget as austere as this is really something to be very proud of. So good job. And why does my mic have so much echo? I sound like Cousin Brucey. Jeez. Okay, but that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Just to echo my committeeman's comments.
Echo, not very fun.
I'm happy to support this budget. We've been trending down well below the 2% cap, and I'm very proud of the work that we've done here as a committee. And I want to thank the CFO and the administration for doing a superb job. So thank you.
Thank you. I also want to commend the CFO and the administration. They always work hard to deliver a fiscally responsible budget, and it shows over the last 10 years. I believe we've had one of the lowest rates in the county, which is fantastic. And once again, this budget reaffirms our commitment to keeping a good balance between taxpayer dollars and essential services that the municipality needs to provide. So with that, I'm going to open up to public portion. Is there anyone who would like to make any public comments? Yes.
Hi, Middletown, 19 Bay Court, and unfortunately I got here a little bit late and missed the hearing. Did have a couple of questions about the budget. So since I only have 5 minutes at this point, I'll just go through some of the most important questions I had. Comcast grant for $125,000, was that received last year or this year? And is it reflected in the budget anywhere?
I'm sorry, what was that?
The Comcast grant for, I think it was $125,000?
That's not in this budget. We haven't gotten an agreement on that. That can't be in the budget.
Okay, it's not. approved? It's not?
It's not in your budget yet. I mean, grants have the ability to put in after the budget's adopted, so once we have all the paperwork, we'll be able to put it in.
Okay, that leads to my next question. Are there any significant revenues that are not reflected in the introduced budget besides that?
No, and that, you have to understand with grants, when you insert that into the budget, it's a revenue and an appropriation. So it's not, it would do nothing to the tax rate, it's a wash. So it's neutral to the budget. But no, there's nothing revenue-wise that was not included that we could have.
Any significant revenues? Okay. Are any costs related to the design and construction of the new town hall reflected anywhere in the budget? And if so, where? And there is a significant echo in there.
No, nothing for that in this budget.
Okay. Nothing at all? Have there been costs expended? Money
That was
expended?
done last year. That was part of the capital plan last year.
Okay. So in this budget, it would be reflected as a capital expenditure?
No, that was part of last year's budget.
Okay. I also wanted to bring up the healthcare costs that are on page, there's a little chart. It's on page 3B1. The numbers that are listed there, the 10,382, which is the gross healthcare cost, that was the amount that was listed on that chart in the approved budget from last year, but it doesn't reflect the $500,000 transfer, which happened last fall, and there may have been more than $500,000 transfer. That's the only one that I can think of at this time.
So that was the only transfer, and when you do that message, that's not, you don't include transfers, it's just what was budgeted.
Well, that was moved to that line item to account for additional expenses, and it's not reflected in the gross amount here, so this is not correct.
What we budgeted last year is the amount that's included in that part of the budget. That's what's included when you do your tax levy cap, and that's what's reflected on.
Okay, so let me just skip to this. From my review of a lot of the township supporting documentation, the actual increase from 2013 to 2014 was 28% to 30%. And that was not reflected in last year's budget, which, you know, and Dr. Schoppenberger at the meeting last April actually said it was in the range, the increase was in the range of what, I think 8.5%, which was actually not in line with what the actual costs were. So this year we're showing a gross of about 11.1 million. And what I'm wondering, and I know there have been some changes, you're maybe changing your health care plan or your offerings, I'm not sure when they would take effect based on when the new contracts take effect. But I'm wondering why you anticipate, here it's showing an increase, but per the numbers on the township's cost chart, supporting documents last year, this is actually a decrease. So are you expecting an increase this year or a decrease from last year in terms of the cost for healthcare?
Well, last year we looked at was what we paid in claims, and there were some things that occurred last year that we don't expect to reoccur this year.
Okay, so you're expecting a decline from what the total, for the gross, what the gross was last year, from what the paid amount was for last year?
And we've been forced to budget additionally this year based on the claims experience that happened post-July of last year. So Dr. Scharfenberger, to his defense, at budget time last year would not be able to anticipate extremely high claims coverage.
Actually, Mr. Fiore, the first 3 months of last year were already showing a 30% increase, and by the time you actually adopted the approved budget in June or July, you had several months more of data.
Thank you, Obama.
And, well, many of those changes took effect in prior years, so has the township, so the increases would have been reflected in prior years. I'm wondering if the township has really looked into what was driving the significant costs.
Claims.
I'm aware of that, but
26-year-old coverage. Lots of factors.
yes, but that took effect in prior
Lots of
years.
factors.
So we didn't see those kind of increases in prior years. I'm wondering what changed in 2014 and has there been a thorough analysis?
We can't tell you about specific claims.
Well,
Okay.
you see it down to 28% and you don't know what's driving it, how do you address it, is what I'm getting at.
You know that.
Okay, well, I guess I'll sum up by asking that you do a thorough analysis of what is driving those costs, so that you can address them. Okay, thank you very much.
Is there anyone else who would like to make a public comment? Seeing no other members of the public wishing to make any comments, I move to close the public portion and move into exec.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore?
Yes.
Committeeman Schoppenberger?
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Michelle.
Yes.
Mayor Meredith.
Motion passes to close the public. Yes, to read.
I'm sorry.
Do the resolution. Bear with me 1 second. I'll read this, bear with me 1 second, I'm just going to pull up the language here, because this was added on. Computers crashed. Check this out. No. Here we go. All right, this time I'll read the resolution and enter executive session. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act provides that the Township Committee may go into executive session to discuss matters that may be confidential or listed pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12. Where it is recommended by the Township Attorney and Administrator that the Township Committee go into executive session to discuss matters set forth here and after which are permissible for discussion in executive session. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Middletown that the committee should go into executive session to discuss the following items. The only item being contractual negotiations pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12B4 regarding collective bargaining agreements, in particular with the PBA, with an anticipated time of decision of May 2015.
Move to go into exec.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore,
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger,
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Michelle.
Yes.
Mayor Meredith.
Double the hand, you see.